When working with multiple layers in Photoshop, and especially when you are blending layers together, it's very helpful to use a layer mask. A layer mask is exactly what the name implies. You are simply putting a mask over the layer. Then you use a paintbrush to either paint on the mask or paint off the mask. The advantage to using a layer mask is that you can fine-tune the edges of the layer into the other layer. The best thing about layer masks is that they are non-destructive. Your original layer is still intact. You can go back and make changes whenever you want. Let's start by opening two images we want to combine. I want to isolate this hawk into another image. I start by roughly selecting the hawk. In this case, I'll use the lasso tool located here. Right now, I don't have to really be careful about my selection, and I'll show you why in just a bit. Once the hawk is selected, we want to switch from the selection tool to the move tool. Then I'll choose the selection I just made and drag it into the target image. You could also use the copy and paste commands if you wished. I'm going to make the hawk a little bigger. To keep the proportion of the hawk, hold down the Shift key while you grab the corner to resize. Here you can see what happens if I do not hold the Shift key. Hit the Escape key to bring it back to the original size. Now it's time to give the hawk layer its own layer mask. Find the layer of the hawk and click on it. Below the Layer tab, you'll see several icons. This icon is the layer mask icon. Click on this icon. Now you'll see the mask attached to the hawk layer here. When working with layer masks, it's important to make sure you are selected on the mask and not the layer. See how when I click it changes focus from one to the other. Also, when clicked on the layer mask, the color selection tool goes to black and white. These two colors determine if you are painting on the mask or painting it off. Black paints off the mask, white paints it back on. You can go back and forth between the two by clicking the switch arrows. To start painting the mask on and off, I use the brush tool located here. Here's a quick look on how it works. Also note that I can change brush sizes and softness to get the blend I want. If I make a mistake and go too far, I simply switch to white and paint the mask back on. Remember, if you want to come back to the file and make changes, you must save the image as a Photoshop file. It's always a good idea to keep your original Photoshop file for editing and save a JPEG copy for distribution.